What's your name or what do you do?
Malik Jarrett, I'm an entrepreneur. Um, I run a brand called Eat, Elevate All the Time. I'm also a coach, son, mentor, brother, you name it,
And where you from?
from Washington, D.C.
Cool. So, what got you started into clothing and apparel?
I think just being from Washington, D.C. naturally, it's very easy to just be into clothing. Um, the the older people, our moms, dads, even our grandparents always had a sense of style and fashion, even if it wasn't high fashion. I just remember, first day of school and certain holidays, we were always clean. And that was kind of embedded in my DNA naturally, just growing up, especially during the era I grew up. Everybody wanted to be fly, and you didn't have to, have a bunch of money to be fly for real, for real. Uh, we had affordable things you could just wear and put together, and people, like your clothes and respect you. So it was just a natural thing. As far as me starting my brand, it just came authentically. I think God just put me in this space, and it was something I never expected I would be in, but I just started to pray that God used me, and um, I started my brand, and it took off right away, and I just knew that was just God telling me like I'm on the right path.
Mm. Is there a favorite like outfit you had as a kid, or like you got a gift or something that you was like, wow, this is like
Yeah,
that?
I got a couple of favorite outfits or gifts or just pastimes with clothes. I remember just being able to walk in the store and get some shoes before like, the shoe culture today where you gotta have tickets and raffles and wait in line. Like you could just go in the store on a Wednesday after them things just dropped on Saturday and just get whatever shoe. I remember just being on A Street and me and my dad, for some reason, we couldn't find the Garnets. And we had I think we had went to, I forgot what mall we had went to first, but then he was like, man, we just gonna go down 8th and H. They're gonna have them for sure. And we went to like 3 stores, and the last store was the Sports Zone on 8th and H, and they had the Garnets. So I remember getting the black and blue Garnets. I remember the first time I had a Coogee sweater. I remember 4th of July having a all Old Navy fit. Me and all my cousins, everybody wearing Old Navy for every 4th of July. First day of school, you know what I'm saying? I remember high school, like I feel like I'm 33, I'm turning 34 this year, so I just feel like that was the golden era of just, sneakers. And I remember just when the Space Jams came out, that first day coming back to school, when the copper phone pauses came out, that first day coming back to school, like everybody wearing them, taking pictures together. When the Griffies came out,
Mm.
that first day coming back to school, oh my goodness, that was a movie. And I remember at my school, it was a fire drill, so everybody outside in the parking lot, and they just the girls lining up all the dudes that got the Griffies on. So like some of my best memories have to do with, clothes and sneakers.
Yeah. I mean, definitely the culture back then was like, the drops and, if you had to drop the like the weekday after, it'd be cool. If you could build like, let's say if you could build a DMV character like Fly, back in the day, like 10 years ago, what would the outfit be like head to toe?
10 years ago, if you fly, like, see, that's the thing about, the DMV. It's a whole lot of ways to be fly. And me, I kind of got the best of both worlds because I'm like, my whole family, like from southeast, northeast, between Berry Farms and Edgewood. So that's where I grew up at, you know what I'm saying? But I also, would experience different things. Like my mom used to have me in different summer camps now, GW. And my ninth and 10th grade, I went to Banneker. And that was like a eye opener for me because I'm starting to experience like different kids that come from different parts of the city. And they showing me, they get me hip to like Urban Outfitters, you know what I'm saying? And I'm used to like from where I'm from, the flyest fit you can have on is all Sabiato, or if you got on all days, or if you know what I'm saying, if you got something from the city. So I got the best of both worlds. So if I was to build a character, like it's probably gonna blow whoever watching this, but like it's the person who you gonna see and know they just being them. You know what I'm saying? Like they just authentically them. If it's the dude that only wear black, blue, and gray and Nike boots and New Balance, or if it's the dude, you know what I'm saying, that dress a little bit different but still respecting it around his way, and everybody he come around, everybody just know like, yeah, he on some super fly shit, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to Kanye, man, because he kind of made that cool for, a lot of kids, especially like me, who was in both. Like, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to rock the Saab and I wanted to have, you know what I'm saying, my Rockin' Republic jeans and my white boy tees and all that, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, Kanye kind of like broke the doors down for that and kind of made it respected, you know, in neighborhoods, like
Mm.
to be different. Like you could wear a pink polo. I was definitely that kid with the backpack on, you know what I'm saying? But like I say, I could always switch it up, go Nike boots and, you know,
Yeah.
whatever.
So you mentioned Kanye. I feel like music and fashion really go hand in hand, especially hip hop, especially in DC and DMV area. So kind of speak on that a little bit, like the influence of music and how that really shapes the fashion here and vice versa.
So people, I sound like I'm sound like an old head to any youngest that's saying this because like our era, man, like we just had the best era. So like early on my era, like growing up, um, I'm not even being funny. Like I don't really remember rap music outside of what was on the radio until I was probably like seventh, eighth grade. You know what I'm saying? Before that, it was just straight go-go. I remember going to parties as young as 10 years old, 11 years old, you know what I'm saying, listening to go-go. Or we playing 3 CDs back to back to back all night, you know what I'm saying? We never played any rap in any of our parties. But it used to be dudes who rap, you know what I'm saying, that never really got the chance to blow up. I remember the first time hearing Dig Dug on the radio, and I was like, what the hell? Like, this dude, it's a dude rapping on go-go, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like Dig Dug came out around the time of when people barely knew about YouTube, you know what I'm saying? Like YouTube at that point was just like, most people just knew YouTube to just look up Sean Taylor highlights. Like that was a place to just watch football highlights for real. So I'm like, man, I wonder if I go on YouTube, find that John. I remember finding that John. I'm like, damn, like, and that's how I first got hip to Wale. But, that era around high school, I remember this girl, Asha Fizz, I'll never forget. She put the whole school on the Wiz and Nicki Minaj. Of course, by that time we was listening to Lil Wayne heavy, Gucci Man heavy, Jeezy. Um, but once that Wiz and all that started getting in the mix, like the fashion, that's when everything started, kind of like blossoming for real. It was like a new era.
Yeah, I feel like when you talk about the DMV, like the music, the fashion, the culture, all those things go really hand in hand, no matter what era, and it's always evolving. So I want to talk a little bit about, so when did you start the Eat brand? Was it during high school or after high school?
I started E-Brand after high school,
Okay,
after high school and college. I
okay,
started Eat in 2000. Well, I started with the apparel like part with 2016, but I started branding my like Eat in 2013.
mm,
Yeah, and I was just doing photography then.
okay. So talk about that journey of, starting out, figuring out, like you said, you asked God for the blessing, He gave you
Yeah,
that blessing. We'll talk about, the come up, what it took to really scale to the point you're at now.
for sure. So like growing up, I was never like the loudest dude, but I was a leader and I was respected. Like I was my own person, you know what I'm saying? Like I ain't grow up around the best places and the best environments, but I came out good. You know what I'm saying? I was never like a follower or anything. If I was uncomfortable with something, shit, I'm about to go in the house straight up. I don't care what nobody got to say. I was scared of my mom. You know what I'm saying? My mom was an educator. She didn't play about none of that. So she used to have me, doing book reports and all that before I can go and be with my cousins and be a hood rat or whatever. But even so, like just growing up, I was just always my own person. The dudes I hung with was the same way as me, you know what I'm saying? You couldn't tell, it wasn't no leader of the group, you know what I'm saying? Everybody was respected, everybody had a voice, everybody had different roles. Um, the environment I grew up in it's going to humble you naturally, you know what I'm saying? So people be saying like humble and stuff, like I don't really, like that's regular to me, you know what I'm saying? Uh, and then just as I start, maturing more, like during like high school, after high school, I just started noticing how it was so much like my mom and my dad, you know what I'm saying? My mom, very smart, like I said, she was an educator. She was kind of quiet, real fly. My dad, he was a socialite, extra fly, you know what I'm saying? Everybody know him, and it's just like, man, I'm kind of like both of them. So that's what kind of really, shaped my character, my attitude, and then, like just my family, and then my friends as well. You know what I'm saying? I give them a lot of credit too.
Nah, for sure. I mean, it definitely, I think, represents in the clothing, the branding, the kind of community that's built around it, and how you really elevated it. So, do you remember like the first piece of merch that you did and how that went about, and how did you think at the moment, like in terms of like, did you always have the vision to what it would be now?
Yeah, so I never thought I would be designing clothes, but I just always knew I would be something. Like people would tell me that. Like older people, even my friends, they're like, man, you gonna like people gonna know who you are, you know what I'm saying? But nobody knew what it was gonna be. And even through college, you know what I'm saying? Like I started noticing that a lot about myself. Like I'm gonna do something. I don't know, like everybody kind of had a plan or whatever, but I was like, I don't really know, but I'm gonna do something. Like, I just had like I was so naive, but just like confident. Like I was just crazy confident. I be trying to like tap back into that now because it's like, man, I was just so confident. Like you could like I just knew, I knew without knowing. It was like blind faith. And so like as far as like me starting the brand, it was just my friends telling me like I was using the E logo as my watermark at first for my pictures and just post them on Instagram. And people was like, man, you should make a t-shirt, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't know how to do any of that, you know what I'm saying, at first. But during that time, you know what I'm saying, I'm working 2 jobs, trying to help my mom out and everything. And so I'm like, shit, why not? So I just take a leap of faith. My first design, it was this big embroidered, it was probably the same size as this, embroidered. It was on the stomach and it was just upside down, some long sleeve white shirts. I was pressing my friends out for a little bit, like, dang, how I make some shirts, you know what I'm saying? Y'all want me to make shirts, tell me how I make them. I'm working 2 jobs, bro. I don't know how to make no shirts. And so eventually, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ma Dukes. I went to my mother. I'm like, Ma, I got this logo. I'm just trying to get some shirts done. So she pointed me in. It was a direction. I ain't gonna say it was the right direction. It was a direction because I got taxed on my first shirts. I ain't know any better. I had 40 shirts, got it made, from this dude, and brought it big as I don't know what. So if you know, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I got taxed. But no, I got them joints, and then I got 40 of those shirts made. That was my first design. I was selling them joints for $40. I got them on a Thursday. By Monday, I ain't have any more shirts. And I was like, yeah, this is what I need to be doing.
Wow. No, that's cool. So like, it sounds like you took that, like you said, you took that leap of faith. You also sought some guidance. Kind of talk about that a little bit. Like, let's say if you were talking to a kid who's finishing high school and they want
Yeah.
to start their own brand, what steps would you point them in?
Um, it's the age of information. Like, if you need somebody to motivate you, you probably in the wrong field. If you need somebody to give you the game step by step, you probably in the wrong field. When I started my brand, it wasn't a quarter of the information that it is out here now. I just say don't take any shortcuts. The blessing they have today is there's so many people willing to mentor. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it was kind of like it was dark back when I started. Like it was really nobody really mentor you in those spaces. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't already have a fashion background or you didn't go to a certain school or something like that to know somebody who knew somebody. But go for it though. And what I was telling bro, like you don't need the most fancy and high quality, high GSM clothing to start. If you can't buy a blank and do your thing and sell those, then it might get dark for you, especially if you're not on a big budget. If you don't have a big capitalist with $250,000 backing you, then start from the ground, start from the bottom, start in shops like this where you could just, get 4 or 5 pieces made and hustle those, you know what I'm saying, and see where you at and be able to pivot, you know what I'm saying? Instead of ordering overseas, getting stuck with an order that don't even fit right and you ain't get your samples and just the sample process was burning out your funds and all of that, you know what I'm saying? Just start from the ground up. There's plenty of resources nowadays. If you really want it, like it's out here for the taking, man. Like go for it, bro. Or sis.
Yeah, hell yeah. So that's good. starting points, how you started, how you, really start from scratch. And then let's say, you run into some success, you're doing your thing. I'm sure there's roadblocks along the way. So kind of talk a little bit about, as you're scaling your brand, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. What are some of the roadblocks you faced and how'd you overcome them?
A roadblock you're gonna face is just learning money, like taxes, all of that. I wasn't taught any of that. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have anybody in my family that ever ran a business. I didn't know anybody that, ever ran a business. You know what I'm saying? So I learned the hard way. But like I said, it's the age of information, man. If you have $100, don't ever think you have $100. If you have $1,000, don't ever think you have $1,000. If you have $10,000, don't think you have $10,000. Like, invest your money, make money. That's kind of like a very broad topic. But like I said, it's the age of information, man. Go learn, go get you a mentor, and just learn what money is, because I didn't know, and a lot of people from where I'm from didn't know what money was for real. We didn't understand it, especially when you taking off, you making fast money. Like, you think I could do a whole interview just on money. You know what I'm saying? But if you're gonna take anything away from this money conversation, is don't spend it, invest it, put it back into your brand. You don't have half the money you think you have, or half the money you read in your bank account.
Cool. So you said you started basically 2016, right? So that's about 10 years into this, right? What does the next 5 to 10 years look like for the brand? Where do you envision it going?
I hope this don't sound like real generic or vague, but like, I really started my brand off just asking God to use me. And one thing I learned, like, plenty of times, is like, it's very foolish for me to make plans. You know what I'm saying? When I ask God to guide me. So since I started, I've been doing things I never imagined. When I first started making shirts and I was just printing out shirts, I never thought about making shoes with New Balance. But I was just asking God to use me, and I had New Balance calling me for meetings. You know what I'm saying? So with me and my brand, my process is just, man, just keep letting God guide you, keep doing the work, and just just keep your eyes and ears open for the pivot. Because I feel like I'm gonna do way more.
Yep.
Like, it's kind of like the same feeling of just knowing I was gonna be somebody. It's like, I know I'm gonna do way more. And like I said, with this age now, people just so instant. But I feel like, when you really stand true to yourself and you following God, like, things don't always just happen like that. You know what I'm saying? And the way I look at a brand and just having a real authentic brand is like, man, it's all about the long run. Like, I had a lot of success in my first 10 years, but like, I'm gonna be like, wait till year 30. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when you first discover some of your favorite brands. They already been out 30, 40 years, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like, to a lot of people, it's just like, oh, he fluctuating, or it's the fall off. But to me, it's just like, man, I was never there. Like, y'all put me on that pedestal. To me, I'm probably like 20% loaded. You know what I'm saying? As far as my potential. So it's like, whatever people can imagine, and then just whatever you didn't imagine, that's what I'm capable of, and that's what probably God gonna have for me. So I'm just trying to stay alive to see it.
So you mentioned earlier, even when you was younger, you was a leader and you was surrounded by a group of leaders. And then now you also, work with the youth, football, athletics, and things like that. So how important is leadership to you?
Being a man, like, that's just a part of being a man to me. Leadership and composure. That's what I try to teach my youngest. Like, a man supposed to be able to lead, and a man, supposed to be able to keep his composure. And but another thing I just teach them about leadership is, you don't have to be the leader of men. Lead yourself. Start there, and that's what makes you a leader. When you lead yourself, it's not telling him what to do and them what to do. It's when you in control of yourself, and nobody leads you emotionally or physically. You know what I'm saying? That's what leadership is. So that's like just being yourself.
Are there some brands you look up to, either when you were younger you looked up to, or even now that you kind of look up to?
Yeah, for sure. I always looked up to All Days. All Days actually sponsor my football team when I was a youngin'. So like naturally, once I started doing my thing, I'm like, yeah, I gotta get into the football now. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get with the youngins. But all days like just a lot of the DC brands, shooters, we are one. I used to go to school uptown, but I lived in Southeast. And so the route we used to take, we used to go from Florida Avenue to Benning Road. So we passed We Are One every day. We passed all days every day on Benning Road. And I used to see like, you know, Kurt sitting outside of all days. And I used to remember just begging my mother, like, man, can we go in there? But if you know, like the locations of both of them stores, like it was no parking for real. Like you had to kind of park in the neighborhood back then. Those Florida Avenue wasn't what it was now. Benning Road was way more treacherous, you know what I'm saying? So my mother wasn't really trying to do that. And then, you know, brands like Saab and all that, that wasn't like until high school, because I ain't even think about asking my mother for no $150 hoodie back then, you know what I'm saying? It's normal for the youngest now, I guess. But yeah, like and then like just other brands like, you know, Stussy. I remember like my brother put me on a Stussy. Having my first Stussy shirt in 10th grade, you know what I'm saying? It was this brand called PGLG, Peg Leg, NYC. A lot of people probably don't know about. Like, those was my two favorite shirts growing up, you know? And that kind of like, I kind of really appreciated those brands. Of course, like New Balance, Nike, that's a given. Trying not to leave nobody out for real, but that's really like what I grew up on for the most part. And yeah, that's what I grew up on, yeah.
What's your favorite piece that you made, and also what's the hardest piece that you made in
Um,
terms of like difficulty?
I really don't have a favorite piece. Like I know that sounds like really, you know, cliche, but like I could tell you like the pieces that like I really cared about probably didn't sell that well. And a lot of times, and I don't want this to come out the wrong way, but a lot of times where I'm just like in a flow state, just boom, 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 boom. That's the stuff that my customers love. Like even when I made the New Balance, it was just I had all these ideas, and when I went to meeting and kind of got the vibe of like, oh nah, this is just about to be like a, you know, little color scheme thing. This ain't about to be no full ed, you know, full design, John. And so I was like, all right, let's just boom, boom, boom. Everybody loved it, boom, boom, boom. Everybody loved the second pair, the third pair. You know what I'm saying? Even with the creation design, like he became upside down because I'm over the baker's house, my man TB. He was showing me how to do the heat press and everything. And after I got the embroidery joint, I got the embroidery joints upside down, but I ain't really know why I did that. And I was telling myself, like, I'm about to just put them right side up next time. But I stopped doing the embroidery, I was doing heat patches. And so when I did the heat patches, I put like, you know, the shirt down, and I was like, no, I'm about to just keep this joint upside down. And I didn't even know why at first. And then somebody asked me like, yeah, so why you got the joint upside down? And then, you know, I'm like kind of impulsive thinker anyway, like, and I do everything last minute. I don't really call it, what's the word? Because I don't even like that word, procrastinating. I don't even like call it procrastination when it comes to me. Like, that's just my regular thing. Like, some people call it last minute, but that's just my thought process. But the first time somebody like, yeah, why you got it upside down? I'm like, man, you know, it's standing for elevate all the time. You know what I'm saying? If you ever having a bad day, your head probably gonna be down, you gonna look down, it's facing you, it's telling you elevate all the time, pick your head up. And I just ran with that. So I just started going upside down with everything. So anything like eye level below, the logo always upside down. But if it's on like, you know, the hat is for everybody else. So it'll be right side up.
So, you know, it seemed like through your life journey, you was always surrounded by community, and the community always, you know, supported you back.
Yeah.
You did a lot of pop-ups as well. Kind of talk about that. Like, why was it important to do the pop-ups?
That was just like the only way we knew during that time. I think, man, I'm so mad at myself for not remembering the name of the brand, but Uncle Scooty used to be affiliated with that brand, and they had a pop-up at Union Market, and that was my first time ever like hearing about that. Like, oh, people gonna be selling clothes there. Like, Like people just bring their stuff and you know what I'm saying? I didn't go, but that was like my first time hearing about a pop-up. And so when I started my brand, I was just linking up with people. I was filling up the trunk of the Ultima, driving around the whole city, like everywhere, just selling t-shirts, hats, whatever. And then my man J-Rock, who I'm with Virginia State with, he was just like, yeah, bro, we gotta get you in a spot where everybody could just come. And he was always a vibe curator. He was always, I don't even want to call him a promoter, like, cause he know how to curate a whole entire vibe, you know what I'm saying, for people. One of the best to do it if you want something done, called J-Rock, straight up. And he's just like, yeah, bro, he was like, I'm doing this thing on Tuesdays. J-Rock runs Tuesdays. We'll have you come pop up with the clothes, bring it all together, you know what I'm saying? It's a pop-up happy hour to start off, then we just, transition to the party. And we doing it on Tuesdays, you know what I'm saying? We having this joint packed on Tuesdays. I'm talking about 150, 200 people. I'm selling out the party pack, you know what I'm saying? We had like a 3-year run with that, you know what I'm saying, just alone. And so the pop-up thing, it wasn't like nothing original I did, but it kind of set the city off. Like we kind of did it in a different way and made it kind of like a staple, I feel like, along with other brands. Like we not the only ones, but we for our crowd, for our community, like we kind of expose people to that.
I want to ask you a fun question. So, what rapper you think has the best swag, and what rapper you think has the worst swag?
I ain't gonna lie, bruh. Like, they gonna say I'm glazing. My youngest, that's what the youngest be saying, you glazing. But I just really spending time with bruh. Like Wale really got the best swag, man. Like, cause he was another pioneer that kind of taught us how to dress too. Kind of made certain things cool too. You know what I'm saying? He don't get enough credit for that. Wale and Kanye, straight up. And just spending time with him, like really, like being able to see bro closet and shit, like, yeah, he be chilling for real, like, you know what I'm saying? But he always been consistent. That's one person that, like, you could look at his old 2007, 2011, 2013 fits. He could still throw them jumps on the day, still be valid. You know what I'm saying? As far as worst swag,
It don't gotta be local either, just in
yeah.
general.
I ain't gonna diss nobody locally.
Yeah.
Worst swag, like I ain't really one of them people that really like, critique, like, I feel like, nah, I ain't gonna lie. The only thing that bothered me with anybody's swag is if like you just wearing fake design, like it ain't that serious, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I kind of get both sides, like, oh, they making this for this much, and
The fake jewelry and all
but it's
that.
like you doing it to trying to keep up, and that's kind of like the morality part. They kind of throw me off, like that don't align with my morals personally. So anybody's just wearing fake clothes, like just trying to fit in, you know what I'm saying? Like it ain't that serious, bro, because you could really, go buy them $100 Air Forces or Adidas or whatever and find a fit and swag that out rather than them blatantly fake, you know what I'm saying, whatever, that's just making you look foolish, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't that serious, bro. But anybody's just wearing fake clothes, it just throw me off.
All right, cool. Last question. What's your message to the world?
Yesterday was yesterday. If you don't eat, you die in the street. Elevate all the time.